Welcome to this relaxing sleep story. I'll be your guide to slowly, effortlessly drift into sleep. The day has already softened. You've arrived at the quiet part now, where time begins to loosen. Let the air around you feel gentle, not cold, not warm, just perfectly still. Your body knows how to rest. You don't have to ask it. It remembers. Notice the faint rhythm of breath, steady and kind. Each inhale, a small beginning. Each exhale, a letting go. You're in a space meant for comfort. Soft light, soft fabric, soft thoughts. Nothing to fix, nothing to finish. Just this hush. You can drift here between waking and rest until the edges of the day fade into calm. Imagine a gentle breeze of comfort starting above you and flowing downward in a slow, pleasant wave. Brow smooth, jaw slack, throat spacious, shoulders sliding away from the ears, arms heavy and calm, hands warm, palms open. Notice the quiet rise and fall in your chest, like water ripples widening and fading. Belly soft and peaceful, hips and legs sinking into the mattress, supported completely. Knees, shins, ankles, loose and cozy. Soles of the feet warm, as if near a small hearth. Let the breath lengthen on its own. You're safe to release the day. It can fade. You arrive at the window as though the room has been waiting with its lamp already low and its warmth already gathered. Rain is on the glass at once, tiny beads that cling and then loosen into slow trails, making the view feel gently softened. Outside, the street below is washed dark and glossy, and the lamps turn each puddle into a small pool of trembling gold. Across the way, tall apartment facades stand in calm blocks, old plaster and brick, with high windows that hold quiet lives behind them. Some windows are dark, some are dim, and a few glow amber, as if someone has left a hallway light on for the night. The rain blurs edges just enough that every straight line becomes kinder, and every distant shape feels like it has been wrapped in wool. Inside the room, the air is warm and still, and it smells faintly of tea and baked butter that has settled into the wood and fabric. A radiator gives an occasional soft tick, a small sound that belongs to the house itself, patient and unhurried. A chair sits near the window with a folded throw draped over it, textured like a quiet promise of comfort without needing to be used. On the table, a cup rests with a dark surface that catches the lamp glow, and beside it, a plate keeps a few crumbs in peaceful silence. The lamp makes a pool of light that stops politely before the corners, leaving the rest of the room in gentle shadow. Outside again, a tram glides somewhere beyond the near street, and its presence is more a hush than a sound, carried along rails in the rain. Headlights pass now and then, stretching into pale ribbons through the watery glass, then dissolving back into stillness. At the corner, a bakery keeps one window lit, and behind the glass, you can make out rows of loaves and the faint suggestion of pastries on a tray. The warmth inside that shop turns the rain outside into something silver and cool, like the night wearing a thin coat over its shoulders. A person moves slowly behind the counter, wiping a surface with the same calm rhythm as the falling drops, as if closing is just another quiet ritual. Nearby, a small café has most chairs turned up on tables, legs pointing gently towards the ceiling, while one table remains set with a single cup left behind. Drops gather at the edge of the cafe awning and fall at steady intervals, making a soft, repeating pattern that the street seems to accept. A late kiosk stays open farther down, bright inside with shelves of small necessities, its window reflecting passing light and then returning to its own glow. A narrow shop front beside it shows a few potted plants behind glass, leaves darkened by condensation, green shapes resting in the city night. Beyond these nearer buildings, the downtown stretches in layers of rooftops and lit windows, a calm geometry softened by rain and distance. The avenue running through the view repeats street lamps like a slow necklace, each bead of light mirrored in wet stone below. Everything feels quieter than it would on a dry night, as if the rain has asked the city to speak in lower tones, and the city has agreed. On your window, a droplet gathers other droplets, grows heavy, and then slides down in one long, patient line, leaving a clear path behind it. And in that clear path, for a moment, the lamps look sharper, the bakery looks warmer, and the whole night looks gently close enough to touch. Rain keeps arriving in small, careful deliveries, and the window accepts each one like a page accepting ink. Some drops rush to meet others, and some linger, turning the glass into a slow-moving constellation that changes without hurry. The street below looks freshly varnished, and the dark pavement holds reflections the way calm water holds the moon. A passing car makes a brief whisper of tires on wet stone, and then the sound thins until it is simply part of the rain again. Farther out, a train line slides through the distance with a muted, rolling softness, and its lit windows drift past like a quiet string of rooms. You can see the slight lift of an overpass and the neat lines of fencing, all softened by mist so they feel more like shapes than structures. A long building with wide windows sits beyond the corner, and inside it the lights are low, as if offices and studios have decided to rest early. Between those panes, curtains and shelves appear and disappear as the rain rearranges the view, making the city feel gently dreamlike. Inside the room, the warmth seems to deepen as the night deepens, settling into the chair fabric and the tabletop like slow sunshine stored for later. The lamp's light stays steady and quiet, and it turns the rim of the cup into a small crescent that looks softly bright against the darker tea. A book rests open without being held, its pages slightly curved, as if it has found a comfortable position and intends to remain there. The curtain edge hangs in a calm line, and where it meets the window frame, it looks darker, like night gathered into cloth. Now and then, the radiator gives a tiny click, not demanding attention, only marking time in the simplest possible way. Outside, the bakery window is dimmer than before, but still warm, and the shelves look like gentle silhouettes of bread shaped for tomorrow. A thin film of steam fogs the lower part of the bakery glass, and it makes the light inside look even softer, like butter warmed in a pan. Across the street, a small café sign hums faintly, and the letters blur through rain until they feel like a sleepy thought rather than a word. Under the café awning, a menu board stands darkened by water, and the chalk lines are barely suggested, like the memory of handwriting. A little later, a door opens somewhere along the block and closes again, and the brief rectangle of hallway light fades as quickly as it came. A person passes under an umbrella with slow steps, and the umbrella's edge sheds drops in a neat fringe that falls in steady beads. The person becomes a softer shape at the far end of the street, then dissolves into the rain and the layers of light beyond. In the downtown distance, the avenue holds a few moving headlights, but they drift through the scene as gently as boats on a dark canal. Street lamps repeat at even intervals, and each one makes a pool of gold that trembles slightly when rain strikes the puddles below. A small food stand with a bright canopy stays open near a junction, and its light spills onto wet pavement in a warm, buttery square. You cannot hear voices from here, only the sense of quiet activity, and the rain smooths everything into softness before it reaches you. A bicycle rests against a post near the curb, its frame shining with water, and it looks like it is sleeping upright, content to be still. The window gathers another long droplet, and as it slides, it briefly sharpens a slice of the city, making one lamp flare bright and then blur again. Nothing hurries, nothing insists, and the whole scene keeps the same gentle pace, as if the night has decided to move only at the speed of rain. The rain seems steadier now, not heavier, only more certain, as if it has found a rhythm that suits the streets below. On the window, the trails become longer and smoother, and you can watch them join like small rivers choosing the same quiet direction. A few drops catch the lamplight from inside and glow briefly, tiny pearls suspended before they slip downward and vanish into the lower edge of the frame. Outside, the nearest intersection holds its signals in patient colours, red and green, softened by mist, reflected twice in the wet pavement. When the light changes, one car rolls through with a respectful hush, and then the intersection returns to its gentle emptiness. The buildings across the street look almost velvety in the rain, their surfaces darker, their window frames more pronounced, their outlines calm and settled. A balcony rail gathers water, and you can see faint drips falling from it at slow intervals, making the night feel measured and kind. Inside the room, the warmth makes a soft boundary at the glass, and the difference between cool window and warm air feels like a quiet, invisible curtain. The cup on the table has cooled, yet it still holds a faint scent that rises when you notice it, a mild bitterness and a hint of spice. The throw on the chair keeps its folded shape, and its texture looks thick enough to hold warmth the way stone holds sunlight after day has gone. The lamp's shade turns brightness into something creamy and gentle, and the light rests on the tabletop like a calm hand placed there and left still. A small shadow from the cup's handle curves on the wood, and it does not move, as if time has slowed within the room itself. Outside, the bakery is nearly asleep, but one backlight remains, and it makes the interior look like a quiet stage after the performance has ended. Shelves stand tidy, counters look wiped and ready, and the last warmth of ovens feels implied in the glow even from this distance. A narrow side street leads away from the corner, and its stones shine with rain, each one catching a faint highlight before sinking back into darkness. Further along the main road, a café window shows a single lamp inside, low and amber, illuminating a stack of cups and a clean counter. The café looks like it is holding its breath in comfort, waiting for morning without needing to rush towards it. A small storefront with posters in its window keeps a dim light on, and the paper surfaces gleam slightly, colours muted by wet air and distance. The rain blurs the posters into soft rectangles, so they become more like shapes of art than advertisements, calm and uninsistent. Beyond the nearer block, the downtown lights feel further away, scattered and steady, like a wide field of stars anchored to the earth. A tram slides through again, its interior glowing, and for a moment you can see silhouettes inside, slow and quiet, as if everyone is wrapped in their own thoughts. The tram disappears behind a building, and the sound follows after, faint and smooth, then dissolves into the rain's constant hush. A distant tower light blinks red through the mist, slow enough to feel soothing, a steady pulse that never demands attention. The avenue's street lamps continue their repeating pattern, and the puddles below mirror them in broken, shimmering pieces. Each ripple from a raindrop disturbs the reflection and then lets it settle again, as if the city is practicing calm over and over. Inside, the room holds stillness like a held note, and even the smallest sounds feel rounded at the edges. The radiator offers a quiet click, then silence, and the pause afterward feels spacious and soft. The open book's pages look slightly more shadowed now, as if the lamp has dimmed by a breath, or as if night has thickened by a shade. The window pane is a moving surface, yet the room is not, and that contrast becomes its own gentle comfort. Outside moves slowly, inside rests completely, and the rain is the bridge between them, steady and patient. a long droplet clears a narrow path down the glass, and in that clear line, the bakery's glow looks brighter for a moment, then fades back into blur. Everything remains quiet, everything remains soft, and the night continues without needing to arrive anywhere else. The rain begins to feel even finer, as if the drops have grown smaller and more careful, choosing to land without making any sharp sound. On the glass, the trails slow, and some of them pause midway, held by surface tension, like a gentle hesitation that never becomes a problem. Outside, the streetlights seem slightly dimmer, not because they change, but because the night around them grows deeper and more settled. The wet pavement keeps its sheen, yet the reflections look calmer now, trembling less, as if the puddles have learned the rhythm and no longer startle. A final car passes far down the avenue, its headlights a soft pair of moving stars that glide and then disappear behind the buildings. After that, the street belongs mostly to rain, to light, and to the quiet architecture holding its steady shapes against the sky. The bakery window across the way holds only a small, late glow now, like an ember kept for warmth rather than for brightness. Inside, nothing moves, and the shelves stand ready, patient, as if tomorrow's bread already exists in the calm intention of the room. The café sign remains, but it feels quieter, its presence more like a familiar landmark than an announcement. Awnings strip less often, and when a drop does fall, it lands with a tiny, almost inaudible touch that vanishes into the street's dark shine. The kiosk light in the distance stays on, but its brightness feels softened, like it is being filtered through layers of mist and rain and sleepiness. Downtown, the scattered windows that remain lit look like small lanterns placed carefully in the city, each one minding its own quiet circle. Inside the room, the lamp's pool of light appears warmer against the deepening shadows, and the tabletop looks smoother, more honey-colored. The cup and plate remain where they are, settled objects that do not need to be moved, as if they have found the exact right place for the night. The open book rests in the same gentle curve, pages relaxed, and the printed lines are only hinted at from here, more texture than meaning. A faint creak in the building sounds once, then stops, like the house adjusting itself into a more comfortable position. The radiator stays silent now, holding warmth without commentary, and the air feels softly even, neither too warm nor too cool. The window becomes less like a boundary and more like a screen for slow patterns, rain threading downward, light blooming and fading through water. A droplet gathers near the top and drifts, joining another, and together they form a longer line that clears a thin view for a second. In that brief clarity, you can see the straight street, the dark stones, the pale facades, and the faint outline of a distant overpass softened by mist. Then the line breaks into smaller beads, and the clarity dissolves back into blur, and the city returns to its gentlest impression. The steady pulse of the distant red light continues through the haze, slow and patient, like a quiet metronome that asks for nothing. Somewhere far away, a train slides along its track, the sound barely present, more like a memory of motion than motion itself. Rain continues, but it feels quieter still, as if the whole sky has lowered its voice to match the sleeping shops and dim windows. The street holds fewer signals of movement now, and the remaining light seems to settle into place, unmoving and content. The bakery corner, the closed cafe tables, the glossy avenue, the softened posters, the still bicycle, all of it stays exactly as it is. Inside, the room's warmth and the lamp's low glow make a small world that does not change, steady and calm beside the rain-lit city. And the window keeps its slow writing, line after line, a gentle script that never needs to be read, only watched as it quietly continues. If you find comfort here, you're welcome to subscribe. So these quiet stories are here for you whenever you need rest. The story has quieted now. Only the rhythm of breathing remains. Each exhale smooths the mind. Each inhale gathers calm. Imagine the night folding around you like a slow-moving tide, warm, even, endless. Thoughts drift like small boats away from shore. The water holds them, then carries them softly out of view. You don't need to follow. You don't need to guide. Just float. The current knows where to go. The body's weightless. The air's kind. Sleep is already here, waiting with open hands. Let it take you. Let it keep you. Let it rest you.